Welcome Home Radio Podcast. Are you looking to buy or sell your home? Our team is here with answers to guide you through the buying and selling process. We encourage you to ask questions. Please comment on this show or visit us at welcomehomeradio.net for more information. Bringing real estate, lending, and education together in one place, and to help you make the right home decision for you and your family.
And welcome to Welcome Home Radio, where real estate, lending, and learning come together. It is October 30th, and we're so excited for you to be with us. We're going to be talking about we're in the middle of the last 3 weeks about October, early November, and what's been going on. Jobs reports have been coming out. Are we heading to a recession? Is unemployment increasing? Also, we've got the Fed meeting coming up. Are they going to continue to cut rates? And then, of course, we have the election coming up. What's going to happen? Who's going to be leading the country? And what economic decisions will be made then? So we're here to talk about those three major things during this last 3 weeks. And we just lost Thom. I hope you're okay, sir. But
back.
and that's what happened in the last 3 weeks.
Right as you're about to introduce everybody.
Well, I mean, we are going through some troubled times, some interesting times. Rates have been coming down a little bit, but builders, buyers, even refis have been on the shelf waiting for this election, waiting for the economic reports, waiting to see what the Fed is going to continue to cut or not, as they're talking about. Jeff, what are you hearing on the street out there? Because it's really been an interesting 3 weeks.
It has, and what's odd is that I get annoyed. I'm just going to be completely honest. When you talk to people and they're waiting. Well, what are you waiting for? A half a point? I mean, if it's time for you to make a move, a half a point doesn't make any difference in the long term. Again, it's one thing if you say, I'm buying a house, I'm going to be there for 2 years. Okay, that's not a good idea. It's another thing if you go, no, we're just moving my family, better schools, better area. We see the development and growth, and you're going to be there long term. Don't worry about half a point. It's just, I understand we all think about our mortgage to debt ratio and all the bills we have, but within a small micro aspect of, if I take a 6% interest rate, yes, you can refinance. You can change that at little to no cost. So I think don't sit there and wait and miss your dream home if it's there and you're ready, thinking that the election is going to give you another point or half a point. Because I'm sorry, our politicians and the aspect of the government, that's not something I'm placing my bets on ever. We shouldn't in our life, right?
Sure. It's an interesting time, and especially what people are waiting for. You focused in on the one thing that I think the world talks about, and the whole life centers around, but yet in the mortgage industry, it's not the priority one, like I think everybody wants to market it. It's not it's about number 14 for me on a mortgage app, because we see so many different things. But again, some valid questions. Why are builders slowing down instead of increasing? Why are they not we're already behind in supply. Why aren't we increasing, Thom? Why are we not seeing builders rush to build more homes? They could be selling because the demand is there. We've been behind for over 2 years. Why are they slowing down and waiting?
I've got an idea. You asked Thom. Can I interrupt? Look at his.
Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
You're making his head hurt.
I'm
in the
sorry,
first 5 minutes of our conversation. Here's why.
I'm trying not to say the wrong thing here.
Because with inflation, and I do not like to talk about inflation so I will go into a deeper rabbit hole with you really quick. But I truly believe in 2008 through 12, what really pulled the U.S. out of that hole was we the people. We finally stopped listening. We stopped stressing over what we were being told. We just kept working. We kept building. We kept growing, and that's us as the U.S. people. So I'm sorry, I'm digressed with that. But I think right now, what people do not realize, what inflation has done in this process is where a builder typically could have spent $40,000 to buy land, create a lot, create streets, develop. People don't realize, you think about everything that goes into water, sewage that happens when you're building a neighborhood. And now they have to start with $65,000 is what it costs them to buy and completely create that standard lot. We're not talking about oversized lots. We're not talking about anything fancy, but their cost has gone extremely, extremely through the roof. And we, the people, then are also feeling that pain. So they slow down because the buyers are going, no, you're giving us great incentive, but yet the costs are still rising. And I could be wrong, but that's a lot of it. It costs them so much more to develop a lot.
So, Thom, you hurt yourself. Your head's mowed.
Well,
am I right, Thom? Am I wrong? You can slap me down. I'm the young one here.
Yeah, I know. Absolutely. And you youngins, you know how you are. You're kind of go off half cocked and that type of deal.
Absolutely.
He's still waiting on his AARP card, Thom.
No joke, right? Man, I've had mine for 20 years.
I thought you started it.
I was on the cover of one of the
Member
magazines.
001.
That's my number. What's yours? I'm not just a member. I'm the CEO.
Yeah, whatever.
No, I didn't mean to go off on that, but that's what I'm hearing. I deal with this all the time, right?
I think it's a kind of a unique position in the marketplace because I've been through, so many of these different types of markets before. I mean, I started in an inflationary market when inflation was 17 and 16%.
1983.
So people made the adjustments for that happening, and it took a while for that to happen. It took 4 or 5 years. We're just now, back to a kind of a normal rate as far as inflation is concerned. So it's going to take, from that standpoint, what's happened in the last 2-3 years, 3 or 4 years to make the adjustment to these higher numbers that are associated. But everything's kind of exponential because you've got interest rates high, you've got prices high, and that exponentially creates the problem. When rates went up, as far as this last recession type circumstance, we saw values come down. And you're addressing the fact of why we can't have enough inventory to actually have an impulse or impact on what we're looking at. I think the cost of the lot is a basic type of stumbling block for us. For people to have that less than a $65,000 cost, they have to go way out to Mugglesville somewhere, in far west Texas to find a place where they can build homes. And then you have a 2.5-hour commute. Their builders aren't willing to take the risk. Part of the problem, I think, is builders have existed through the 2008-9 period, and they see that and they fall so quickly on their sword to save them from that happening ever again that they do like you just mentioned. Instead of going forward and saying, well, I'm going to take some risks with this, I'm going to go ahead and build away. They say, no, what happened in 2008, I don't want that to happen to me again. Which is understandable, but the same type of market condition doesn't exist as far as that goes. And part of the challenge I have with builders and I don't want to beat up on them. They're important for our economy. They're important for
absolutely
everything we do as realtors, as lenders, as people real estate business, and I've made my livelihood that way. The one challenge they've got, or one thing that I see, is that when things are justified to come down on prices, if I go back in 1909, when I first started in the business, builders would take the price of their house and they'd reduce it to sell it quickly. Today, they reduce it a little bit, but they build in this $40,000, $30,000 hickey for financing. So you're really not getting the true cost of the property. I mean, they've got that much built into the house. And we're talking about $90,000, $50,000, $80,000 worth of profit built into the house. And they're still going to make $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 per unit. So it's kind of a different mindset, I think, from the builder's perspective of not wanting to fall down and collapse and have a 2008. And I totally understand that. But the reality of what they've got in that house, they're not willing to give up all the money that they got in that house like we did back in the 2007, 8, 9, 6 period, or even before that when I first got started in the business, where I saw builders cut their values of their properties from, I hate to say it, from $150,000 for a really nice house, and they sold it for $100,000 when they got finished with it. So they took a third off the value.
And let's make sure everybody knows that might be listening. We need the builders, but what we're talking about is they are a gigantic gauge as to what's happening in any market anywhere in the country. So that's why whether we take DFW, whether we take Atlanta, whether we take any other areas, that I've got deals going on in Colorado right now. So this doesn't matter. It's just about, they are a gigantic gauge. Nobody's knocking them. We need them. And they've become smarter because their costs have gone up as well. That's what we're seeing. Is that fair?
There's cost gone up. There are, D.R. Horton, I sit on a water board. We're building, there's 7,800 homes in this division. It's been building now for 6 years, and it's going to complete in another 2.5. And they're selling homes at $350,000, $375,000 like hotcakes. Okay. They're building through this. You got the multi-million dollars up there in Frisco by the Champions Way that they've got homes. They're keeping it multi-million dollar cost, and they're only building 3 or 4 homes a year. And they're purposely not building on the other lots to make sure value property stays up.
But those lots are $1 million at a lot too, are they?
Then you've got the home buyer, a home seller that wants to sell their home for the most money, and they've got an exorbitant amount of thought process that my home is worth. And the poor guy coming into the market, first-time home buyer, when Thom was talking about $150,000, 3% or 3.5%, 5% was not a big deal compared to 5% of a $600,000 home to a $150,000 home. So we've got all of these issues coming on board. Interest rate, where's it going? Election going on. And oh, by the way, our unemployment is creeping up. And we stop counting people once they hit the 6-week mark on continuing jobless claim. We drop them. So what are we really at? Where are we going? What's our market? We're digging ourselves a hole here. Ultimately, if we don't get a clear view of what picture and understanding of what we're trying to do or what we're doing in the industry. I mean, I understand waiting for the election, but does it change your ability or your desire to own a home? Either way it goes. Does it matter? I don't think the taxes are going to be impacted by either president here in the state of Texas.
Especially not, it's going to be 2 years at least.
So that's where I'm trying to get an understanding on people waiting, but I see what's going to happen at the end of the quarter to the beginning of Q1 2025. If the Fed continues to take down the Fed rate, we're going to see mortgage rates get better, more people jumping in, competition. Home prices are not going to come down, no matter how hard you want to try.
They are not.
And how can people continue? I mean, it's just like California. How are these people buying $1 million homes and they're only 25 years old? Where in the world are these people getting a pre-approval for $1 million home? I don't understand it. I don't.
Well, I would
maybe
do
in
it
the
if I
market
was
you're
in the
in.
mortgage business.
Huh?
I would do it if I'm in the mortgage business.
I would do it, but I'm trying to understand where these people are making this money. I mean, if they're even lucky to be a 2-income family.
They're influencers. They're 15-year-old influencers.
Oh, and they've been
Hey,
saving up all their
Tom,
down payments since 15 TikTok. Is that what
Tom,
you're saying?
easy.
TikTok's paying your down payment?
We closed some influencers last month, bought us $785,000 home cash, my friend. They were young influencers, about 24 years old. So sorry, but you thought you were being funny, but that's legit. We've closed.
I know it is.
Closed those deals.
Mr. Monkey Butt, I've lost total control of this. I'm sorry. I'm really. What do y'all see happening over the next? Let's look all the way to November 7th. What's happening? What's going to happen? I mean, is it predicated on the election? Is it predicated on the Fed dropping mortgage rates at all? What is that going to take place at the end of this year? How is 2024 going to close out for everyone? And I see the market opportunities there, but I don't see people jumping in because, like you said, a lot of people should not be house poor, even though they go into it. Buy me the most house, just like the car. Buy me the most house. I'm home poor. Can't pay the property. Can't pay the sprinkler system. Can't pay to keeping it up. But I got the best home in the best area.
Well, the only thought I could share with anyone listening who might be looking to buy their first home is just because you get a pre-approval for an X amount doesn't mean it fits your budget. When I received my very first approval, I was like, holy cow, they approved us for what, sweetheart? Did they really look at our numbers? So you'll get approvals, but that doesn't mean you have to go full value when you go hunting for a house. I mean, I think that's one gigantic thing across the board, no matter what market you're in. Sorry, that's just me being your Uncle Blair, and I was being Uncle Jeff for a minute, so I'll shut up.
No, that's cousin
boy,
Jeff.
did you just sound old, Mister? I just closed $795,000 for influencers.
He doesn't sound very old when he talks about influencers. I was even questioning what in the world.
Do they realize they have to pay the taxes on that thing?
We talked about it. Hopefully, they heard the information at the closing table.
They better influence a lot more.
No joke.
Cash. Remember,
guys,
cash.
Okay, guys, let me give you what's the status. Inflation, 3.2%, just down from 3.3 right now today. Unemployment, 4.3. Expected to be at the beginning of 2025, 4.6. That's not a good way to go. GDP growth, 2.6% in 24, 2 flat in 2025. If we're expecting GDP to be flat, how do we expect people to be buying homes? And rents are going up. Rents have risen 7.5% just in the Southwest. 7.5%. I bet you unobtained, there's certain areas that are going even higher than that.
I would hope, I would assume, and if I have any thought to anyone listening, that if you're on the fence, you're looking, you're thinking, and you're not sure, I would say get locked in before the election, because we just don't know what's going to happen, because the rates are good. The market is good. I think don't sit there and wait on the politicians that you may or may not have voted for to make decisions for you. I just think that's the way that should be considered right now. Me personally.
Why why is rate so important to everyone? Is it because they saw the market at 2.5, 3.5? Why is it people have not studied it enough to understand ever since they tracked rates, the average rate across the historical records of over, what is that? Almost a little shy of 100 years is 7.5% interest.
Blair, we've been told. That's what it comes from. If you're not really reading or listening to what you just talked about in the history, all we do is hear what my uncle said, my father said, my aunt said, or the market on the news said, or my lender I just called said, right? We've been told. Research. You're going into a gigantic decision. Know that you feel comfortable and confident about what you're doing, because this is a great market. It really is. And it's not just where we are locally. We close deals all over the country. There's really good markets. So I'm sorry, I'm not trying to get off on my soapbox, but just don't listen to everybody else. If it's your time and you're ready and you've saved your money, find the right person to guide you how you're going to get there. That's your challenge. And I know a guy right here called Uncle Blair. He's on my left on the screen. So if you needed somebody to talk to, call him, because he won't lie. He'll shoot you straight and do what he can to help. That's why we're here.
But why is it fear controls? Why is fear driving this market right now? That just doesn't seem logical for me.
Fear drives a lot of things.
That's illogical for me.
Well,
data.
I think for most smart people that, yeah, it shouldn't.
And most of us haven't been out in the desert firing artillery cannons representing our country. I mean, there's a different level of confidence when you sit there and you're a captain of a whole group. So I want to give you respect with that, Uncle Blair.
Yeah,
and not everybody understands what you've been through, and thank you for your service.
But a lot of people weren't married to my first wife either. I think there should be something said for that, Uncle Thom.
Amen, Uncle Thom.
I hope she's not listening.
This just went down recorded for posterity. She was a sweet angel. I'm just kidding.
Too late. Too late.
And you can't say that with that face either.
This is video recorded, Thom.
Oh gosh, I forgot. This is for posterity.
Well, guys,
or my posterior.
Anyway, I want to be encouraging to people. I want to understand and let them know through today to November 7th, a lot is going to take place. November 7th, we should see, and I fully expect to see a 1/4 point cut on the Fed rate. That means risk is taken down a notch from banks to employment to companies. But we also see hiring freezes going on, and it's not seasonal yet. Hiring freezes normally take place November, December, and hiring comes back on for January. We're seeing freezes starting in August. Mm-hmm. And we're not seeing hirings going on. Even seasonal hirings are slow. So I'm very concerned whether the Fed rate is going to do a soft landing like they want to do, or are we headed toward a recession, especially with the impact of home builders slowing and who's going to be in that office economically. Are we going to have somebody that really knows the economic? Because Thom, you and I know people they think the Fed is a part of the government.
Yeah, I know.
And the Fed is not.
I know.
And it could be its own entity, an animal if it wants to be. So I just think, as you said, I think anybody getting into looking at this seriously should look at all angles and not just one thing being interest rate. Interest rate does not drive this. Mm-hmm. And especially if your county that you're looking in is like Plano, getting appreciation at 8.9% a year annually, what do you care about a 6% interest rate? You're still making money on your home and you're not losing it out with rent somewhere.
Right.
Rent is guaranteed to never go out and never come back. But an appreciation in a home where you're building wealth, it's worth it to understand that. But I just see people getting so caught up in rate, and it bothers me that we don't understand the base foundation of what we're trying to do here, which is net worth.
Well, that's why we're doing this show. Hopefully people are learning and understanding, or
I don't
at
know.
least
Tom's looking at me like, what are you talking about? What animal and what world are you in?
No. That's a weird look on my part. I'm still thinking about
Hey,
my
he just
ex-wife.
has that look.
Still thinking
Oh,
about
he's
my
still worried
ex-wife.
about his ex-wife.
How am I going to fix this thing? Mark hopefully can audit, or he was talking
It's called
about us
edit,
saying
not
cuss
audit.
words. Surely he can cut out some of this for me.
Don't call Mark Shirley.
Call him monkey butt.
Yeah, good luck. Cash talks, though. Cash talks.
Guys, I think we've really opened up some thought processes for people, how important this time and how much we need to monitor and watch the news of what's really taking place. We know the Fed's desire is for a soft landing, recession, all of that. But how soft will it be, and will they follow through? A lot of times we get promises, but nothing ever happens. So follow us at welcomehomeradio.net. I think there's a QR code going to flash on the screen here in a second. That will take you to our website where we have all of our videos, where you can leave information, where you can tell us what you want to hear about. There you go. It's right up there in the top right. Follow us there. Let us know. Share. Let us know what we can do to help you understand the decisions you need to make in making wealth with your home buying decisions. We just encourage it. Yes, we encourage a lot of questions and comments. Anything else, guys? Any concerns, issues, comments you'd like to share?
Nope, thank you. Just please call, ask questions.
And I'm the same way as far as education. I wouldn't be working with Champion School of Real Estate if I didn't feel like I could help people with the knowledge base in order to make better decisions. And I think all three of us are dedicated to that. And one side note with Blair, of course, and I'm sure he's thinking about this, is make sure you vote. If you want your voice heard, make sure you vote.
Please do.
Absolutely.
Please vote. Most countries do not give you the right to vote.
Not like we have here.
And if you want to honor a veteran by going and practicing your right to vote.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Guys, I hope we help you get to clear to close. That's what we're here to do, to educate you, to make your home buying experience a positive one, but a great wealth management one as well. Thank you. God bless. See you soon.
Take care, folks.
Thank you.
Welcome Home Radio production provided by Lunatic Digital. Check the listing of this podcast for the links to our sponsors. And don't forget to like, share, and follow us on social media. Visit welcomehomeradio.net for more information. This was a Lunatic Digital production. Visit lunaticdigital.com for all your digital needs.